welcome back to some more battles. We are in the Open Great League, and let's see what team we're going to be trying out tonight. We're going to be using the Annihilape paired with the Bibarel and the Shadow Drapion. Not a great lead. We switch on into the Drapion. They match us with their own Drapion, which is very interesting, but we are ahead in energy because they swapped in. You can see right here, they're going to fire off another Aqua Tail, and since that's the case, we are going to throw the Aqua Tail right. When they get to their Aqua Tail, they decided to let it go, and now we see the Azu in the back. So unfortunately for us, this is Azu and the Jump Love has actually eliminated our Annihilape. It just really has no play without some energy advantage. So we're going to go into the Bibarel, try to wiggle out of this situation. We fire off the Hyper Fang here. Let's see if they shield. They do shield it, and they have a good read on us now. We have to make a big call, I think. No, we actually do shield here because we are going to have to try to get this Jump Love as low as possible. We try to catch right there, but unfortunately no catch. They're going to fire off another Energy Ball, easily taking us out, and now we have the Annihilape in a very, very bad spot. This Annihilape tanks the Aerial Ace. They're going to get to another move on their Azu, it seems like. Oh, they actually just shielded. They're going to shield and take us out with the Aerial Ace here, and down goes our last major Pokemon. So, GG's to our opponent. A little bit unlucky. The backline and the front ended up being double good against our Annihilape. Alright, next we got the Drapion switched out into the Azu. Okay, so the Azu has a great matchup because it's Annihilape, but we're going to go into the Bibarel. Bibarel versus the Azu. A little bit better matchup because we can tank these bubbles way, way, way easier. We're going to build up to another Hyper Fang. The Hyper Fang does get through, but we have to invest the shield here just to farm it down, and that's exactly what we do. We get the farm down, which is nice little extra energy to throw back at this Drapion. Drapion decides to shield. We are back at another serve very quickly. They decided to double shield, and now we're just going to let this go down because we want this Annihilape or Drapion to be matched up, and they actually go into their Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz running Air Slash, doing some super effective fast moves, but we fire off the close combat, and then we dip out of there into our own Drapion. Drapion fires off the Aqua Tail, dealing some good neutral damage. Doesn't quite KO, but it looks like we are going to survive these Aerial Aces, thankfully. Next Aerial Ace gets us into the low red, and they already have a move on their Drapion. They use some energy to take out our own Drapion, and now all we have to do is get to this close combat. We can shield here no matter what, and at this range, close combat will KO. If it was maybe like 90%, it would survive with a sliver of health, but from this range, we are good to go. Okay, next game. Let's see what we find. So the Annihilape lead is kind of risky, but of course, we can have some good save swaps in the back. Okay, this matchup here is kind of interesting. They have the Aerial Ace, but then they elect to switch out. So we're going to fire off the close combat. They decide to shield. Now we're going to go into the Bibarel. The Bibarel has a fantastic matchup against this Feraligatr. They had the Crunch version, which is better for them. So that's interesting. And they decide to let the first one go. We know we got Crunch, and they decide to farm us down. But that's fine because they're not going to be able to get to another move. We get the energy on our Drapion. And now we have the Clogsire to deal with in the back. They fire off the move here. Ends up only being the Stone Edge, but that still would be a decent amount of damage. We're going to be able to get to multiple Aqua Tails here. This Aqua Tail gets them in low enough that the next one will KO. Let's see if they shield. They do elect to shield. And now we're just going to make sure we shield right here. And let's see if they try to catch. No catch. We are going to be able to fire off this Aqua Tail to take out this Clogsire immediately. And now we have the Superior to deal with. We get to this Crunch before they get to their big move. Crunch significant damage, and we get the debuff, which is really good for us. They're going to be able to fire off this Frenzy Plant. Doesn't quite KO, and we are able to Poison Sting down. So GG's to our opponent, able to win that game with our Drapion. Okay, interesting. Let's see what else we find here. We're going to have the Annihilape versus the Wiggly. This is horrible. We switch out of there immediately into our Drapion. They match us with their Annihilape. Annihilape is looking to go for a big move here, but do we believe him? No. And we call it right. Ends up only being the Rage Fist. So we're going to be able to fire off this Aqua Tail to grab that shield. And that was pretty decent. Now we're going to be able to use our Annihilape. I don't know if we can farm down. We do tank that Rage Fist that was boosted. However, we do get this Rage Fist. They decided to let it go. And now we have to try to win the game with our Bibarel. Great matchup right here. And we're going to pressure our shield. So down goes our last shield. And we're going to shield here because we need this healthy enough to take out that Wiggly. So Wiggly comes back in. We're going to be able to fire off the Hyper Fang. Pretty significant damage, roughly 60%, 50%. We're going to shield here. And then we already have a Surf ready. This should KO from this range. Yep. And then we have this Talonflame to deal with. But our rollouts will win us the game right there. So well played by us. The Bibarel coming in clutch, luckily, to win the game. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can end up on a good note. We have the Annihilape versus Chestnut. Okay, Spice. This is pretty decent for us. Looks like we are going to get the move first, and they're threatening Frenzy Plant, but they go for the Thunder Punch. They switch out into the Rapidash. We're going to go into our Bibarel. We can take one. Yeah, there's a draw one. And then we're going to fire off this Surf to either get a shield or the KO. Okay, they decided to let it go. And then expecting their Chestnut to come back in. Luckily, we do have a Hyper Fang to dish out. And they do decide to let it go. And now we see the Typhlosion. Typhlosion with 2 shields is pretty interesting. We show the first one because it was still going to do significant damage. We fire off the Aqua Tail on good timing. Here goes another Aqua Tail. This is going to get the last shield. And we get farmed down, which is not great for us. We have in a little bit of a pickle. We try to catch a move right there, but they are smart enough to farm down. I believe they have 2 moves there. There's the Blast Burn. And unfortunately, we are not going to be able to reach the next one. So well played by our opponent. Unable to win that game. Check out this team if you haven't already and let us know if you enjoyed the video.